like I've gotten injured numerous times. Like that's just like the tip of the iceberg with me. Like my worst injuries have been popping out both of my shoulders.
Ooh,
Not at the same time though, different times. Football. Junior year of high school, I was in practice and went to go tackle my friend Jimmy. Jimmy's a big kid though.
Fuck you, Jimmy.
No, I love Jimmy. And I went to go tackle Jimmy, and I remember like my shoulders popped out. I'm like, yeah, it's done.
That's out there.
It's done. And yeah, I went to go get an MRI like the next week at the hospital for special surgery. Shout out to Dr. Ainsworth Allen.
Shout out.
And I got an MRI. He's like, yeah, your labrum's like completely torn off.
Oh.
And I was like, what do I do for this?
Yeah.
And he knew. He told me, he's like, you can't play any sports. Like you're decommissioned.
Ever?
And he's like, you can't play any sports until you get the surgery.
Yeah.
Every time you do something, it's gonna pop out. And sure enough, he was right. So I got the surgery June 2017.
Okay.
And that I know people get worse surgeries, but like it was my right hand and I'm ready. That like recovery is so terrible. Just because after I got the surgery, so I have 4 screws in my shoulder.
Really? How's that
They're
going
like
through
anchors.
Airport security?
No, they're like plastic. They're not.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like anchors, right?
Mm-hmm.
They like keep my labrum in place because like it's a reconstructive surgery. At that point, like it can't like re-heal. Like you have to get surgery to heal it. You know what I mean? And just me being in this like there was like a giant like box here. I had to keep my arm like this. I slept in a lazy boy chair for like 8 weeks. I couldn't put on a shirt for like 8 weeks.
That's brutal.
And yeah, I would just sit in my room like every single day, and like honestly, I feel like I de-aged in that time frame. So I got like oxycodone, or it's hydrocodone, whatever that's called, one of the painkillers. Yeah.
Oxycontin?
No, it wasn't Oxycontin. It was like hydrocodone, I think. But then, like initially after the surgery, I got Percocet. And
did you take them?
Yeah, and like it doesn't matter because it was medically used, so my parents could get mad at me.
Yeah.
Like,
were you buzzing?
Percocet was kind of sick.
No, I did morphine when I broke my
oh yeah, I've got morphine before too. Yeah.
Zygomatic arch, and like I'm like, I was after the surgery. I'm like, don't give it to me. I don't want it. I don't want it. And the nurse was like, you need this. I'm like, I don't want it. She's like, what about a little bit? I'm like, okay, I'll take a little bit. She put it in me.
Dude, and like you feel the rush of morphine, right? Like when it goes in the IV, you wait like 2 seconds, and all of a sudden it's like a cold rush like goes
so
up
good.
your arm, and all the pain just goes away. And I'm like, whoa.
In the clouds. I was really in the clouds, and then I was telling her about aliens, and it was great.
Dude, like those drugs are absolutely insane. You can see how people get addicted to them because of the fact that they like actually work. But like Percocet worked, fine, whatever. Hydrocodone is way stronger. Right, because I had the surgery, so like my shoulder was literally like reconstructed. So like my shoulder was fucking killing me for weeks and weeks. Like it would just have pain because it was like I had 4 anchors in. So like you know how your body like will calcify like around when you get screws in like your like wherever your body like calcifies around it like your bones, so it makes it hard, like it's in place. If that makes any sense.
I don't get that.
Like trying to explain.
Like your bones get.
So how a bone gets healed, right? Like it builds like calcium around it. So that's what happens with the anchors in it, right?
Okay.
So that process when you have like versus when you break a bone, it's just set in place versus when you have like an obstruction, it hurts a lot more.
Yeah.
So like every morning I'd wake up and it'd just be like a sharp pain. Ugh. Yeah, which is pretty bad. So I would take the hydros. Only took them for like 2 weeks. And yeah, like you just take them and you don't even know like where you are. Yeah. Like not even just like I knew where I was. I just wasn't like cognitive at all. Like I didn't like no I couldn't feel anything. Like there was like everything was just like in front of me, and then that was it. Which was kind of interesting. And then like that was like the rise of THC pens. Like that year was the first year. Remember everyone had like THC pens. So I thought it'd be a great idea because I couldn't fall asleep like at all.
Yeah.
Right, because I was sitting up like this.
Yeah,
I couldn't fall asleep, so I started like doing the THC pen.
Yeah.
So, dude, my brain just became like mush for like 3 months until the beginning of my senior year of school in September. That entire summer, because I had surgery in June, just sat in a chair.
Yeah, it sucks.
So my brain just became like mush.
Your body must have went to mush too,
dude. Like I started going to the gym recently. All right, whatever.
Beast.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
talk
why did you start going? What got you into it?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right, that's fine.
Alpha Academy. They know who they are.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
Beasts.
so my right arm is probably like a year behind my left arm in like terms of development
Strength.
because of the fact that I've been like this, and I'm not gonna go into jerking off. But
I want to hear all the details about that. How's that go?
No, it was interesting. But yeah.
You use your feet?
Yeah.
Bend over, use your mouth?
Yeah, that'd be cool, right? Yeah, so like so when I got back out of the surgery, right, when I put on my shirt, like you don't realize the toll that like prescription drugs like have on you when you do it until after you're done.
What kind of toll did it take?
Like just like a mental toll. Like I couldn't, like I started having like an eating problem. Like I started like there was just like weird things because for a while I was pent up in my room, like just like depressed, not being able to do anything. And at the same time I was chemically like trying to heal myself.
Yeah.
And I know like I don't smoke anymore. It's partially because of like that time period in my life where like I felt like that was the only thing that was going to make me escape like just like the brutality of like having a kind of like invasive surgery and like knowing that I couldn't do anything for weeks on weeks. And being that age, 17, I just was like learning how to, like, just got my license. Like, all my friends, we were all growing up. It was gonna be our senior year. It was like the summer going to senior year, and like it was gonna be awesome. But then at the same time, like I couldn't even participate in any of that because I was pent up in my room. I couldn't really move. And so and then you combine that with taking prescription drugs, even though like you got it prescribed. I didn't take it for that long.
Yeah. And
then like constantly like doing pens, because the way I look at it, I think dab pens are way worse than normal weed.
Oh, 100%.
Like, especially just like mentally. I know a bunch of people like in my lifetime that I will see become like physically dependent on dab pens because it's different than weed. Like I always felt like with weed, it's just kind of the same thing with like tobacco, with like smoking cigarettes and juuling. It's like with weed, like you had to like go. I mean, like now we go to college, like you can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But like when we were growing up, a part of smoking weed was like the fact that you couldn't just go and do it in your house. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't just go to the bathroom, just light up a J and be like, oh yeah, like that's fine. Obviously it would smell. Room. Yeah. So with the pen, like it just made it a lot easier and a lot more accessible. Yeah. So there would be days where I'd just be high 24/7. And if you have like a month of that and then you snap out and then like you have to go back into real life, it's definitely, it took like a massive toll like on just like on my head because I was so used to like, being pent up for that long. Like that's why like I like people who are in solitary confinement, right? Like imagine being in solitary confinement.
Yeah, it's cruel.
Like it's one of like the most inhumane punishments, and old heads don't realize like how bad that is because like humans themselves like need to like socialize. Like
we're social
one of our
creatures.
biological
That's how we
things.
survive. And
so when I went back into like society for a while, like I was like just had so much anxiety for no reason. Like I don't know why I was stressed out. Like it just so happened. I came back in, there's so much anxiety. I like wasn't eating, and it took like a long time to honestly get over it. It probably took until like the end of my senior year to really like kind of get out of that head. Like even up until my freshman year of college, like it was a weird kind of situation. Like, and also like for a young kid, like I'm sure for older adults, it's definitely, even though like it probably hurts more with rehab, for a young kid to go through like a pretty major surgery, like it's definitely not like a fun thing to do.
Yeah,
like
that
like,
sucks.
Because you're in your prime of your life. Like you're all more interested in your friends and your family at that point. You don't want to But all the people I was talking to was like my mom and like people who would come and visit. But then when people would come visit, I always feel like I was like the charity boy for like, it was a tough life.
That is really hard.
Yeah, and I had to miss out on my senior year of football. Like whatever, I don't really care about that anymore. And I ended up playing lacrosse at the end. But like, yeah, it was definitely way tougher than I initially thought it was gonna be. Like I should get my other one done, but like I don't want to because I just don't want to miss another 4 months of my life for no reason. And like when I was in COVID quarantine, it's kind of similar, but in the same way, it was different just because everyone was in it at once.
True.
So we were all in the same boat. But like when you're the only one that's like out, it's definitely tough.
FOMO.
Yeah, exactly. FOMO's tough.
Especially in high school.
Yeah, especially in high school. Because that's when you're more interested in your friends. Like now, I mean, like, yeah, I would get FOMO, like say if people do things now that like I'm not at, but at the same time, I feel like I'm kind of grown up enough where I have other I have like other lanes and like
you do some self growth.
Yeah, like you have to like growing up takes a while. And, like the difference between like a college freshman and a college senior is like massive.
It's so much different.